This research proposal is on the pressing need for play. As I was reading around for information around the area of play, I came across a quote by Beatty 2015, and I thought it would be a good way to start. And it says, the bulk of environmental education research is done without listening to the voices of the children. Young children should be seen as active agents and experts in their daily lives. A strong case can be made for involving students in decisions that affect their education and welfare. And one of my aims through this study is to ask children directly their views on play, their enjoyment from it, and what they gain from play in the hope to get a better insight on play. I've been very interested in the topic of play for a number of years now. The way children play is completely different due to advances in technology, the safety of children without adult supervision, and parental schedules, as in many households now have both parents working full time. This has led to a decrease in playtime for children after school. It has also meant many children as young as 4 years old playing for extended periods of time on iPads, gaming consoles, or watching videos on YouTube. However, just because this is how things are changing doesn't necessarily mean children are benefiting. This is the rationale behind this study. Having had three boys myself within 4 years has challenged my thinking on how best to help them with their social and emotional competencies and providing as many opportunities as possible for them to play which doesn't involve technology. The context and the rationale behind the study are that the Children's Services Cooperation Act of 2015 for Northern Ireland states that the well-being of children and young persons includes physical and mental health and the enjoyment of play and leisure. And I have highlighted play and leisure as I feel that is key and it should be integrated within the curriculum a lot more than maybe what it currently is. And children need to learn to be interested in learning. The issue around the place of play within the school establishment can be complex, and I feel this research is important as the issue of play or lack thereof needs to be both examined and addressed. Play-based learning and time for play is being eroded in place of technological devices and measured academic assessments. Children are playing outside less than they ever did, with most preferring games, consoles, and iPads. There is, from my reading, a major emphasis in Key Stage 1 for play to be integrated in all areas of the curriculum. However, this dwindles as children move through their schooling years into Key Stage 2, and I am definitely finding less studies done on Key Stage 2 age children, yet I feel they are still children and they deserve time to play and they need it. Their development is key to having these opportunities for developing different skills other than academic skills. In many school establishments, play is reward based, whereas literature would suggest it is critical to the holistic development of the child. Play should be free from the demands of an adult and should be child-centred. Children should not need coerced into playing. The value placed on the skills obtained by play-based learning can sometimes be at odds with the role of intentional teaching to promote knowledge. This study is not intended to take away the important place of knowledge-based teaching methods and teachers leading from the front, but it aims to recognise play as a vital addition to teaching methods. From my reading as well, I have found that parents can also influence teaching methods within schools, and sometimes they place pressure on schools to measure academic ability. Meriwether 2015, which is an article I read, holds that testing actually takes away from play based learning. And why the need for play based learning? Not all valuable skills can be measured. Emotional well being in children should be valued. Play promotes team building, turn taking, problem solving, invention, creativity, conversation, and imagination. Therefore, play is essential for all children in primary school. There has been a focus recently on the holistic development of children. Children express themselves through play, and children with additional needs may need play to help them read social cues and communicate effectively. One of the aims of this study is to determine the training teachers receive on the importance of play and how much time is allocated for play-based learning. The literature so far that I have been focusing on includes Edwards 2017, the article Play-Based Learning and Intentional Teaching, Are They Forever Different? Becker, Grist, Caudle and Watson, Complex Physical Activity, Outdoor Play and School Readiness Amongst Preschoolers. Vysokovic, Sunko and Mendes, 2019, Children's Play, The Educator's Opinion. Meriwether, 2015, Young Children's Perspective of Outdoor Learning Spaces, What Matters. Beatty, A Young Child's Perspective on Outdoor Play, a case study from Vancouver, British Columbia. So the research question: how often do children have opportunities to learn and develop new skills through both free and structured play? And can we obtain quantitative data on this? Have teachers received up-to-date training around the innumerable benefits of play? And are they using play-based learning within the classroom environment? When children return to the classroom setting after being away for almost a year because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they will need to build up social emotional competencies again. This can be done in a non-threatening manner through play. This has led me to the question so far of: this study is designed to examine the extent to which play-based learning is both integrated and used within the Key Stage 2 curriculum. Methodological approach. So I aim to distribute questionnaires to obtain as much data as possible around play types and time spent engaged in play within Key Stage 2. I want to compile 2 questionnaires. One will be given to teachers and the other one to students aged 7 to 11. It is my intention to interview between 10 to 15 Key Stage 2 children from different primary schools across County Antrim. These one-to-one interviews will last approximately 20 to 30 minutes each. Data obtained will be qualitative. I will then interpret the data to try and find links and similar views and opinions. Again, I want to go back to actually hearing directly from the children themselves, and there's no better way, I feel, of doing this than to interview them and to make sure that I am asking open-ended questions and letting them speak what's on their mind. And all these interviews will be audio recorded and then transcribed. There are a lot of ethical considerations when conducting research of any kind, and the main ones really that I have found is that number one, no student or teacher will be forced to participate in the study. Everything will be conducted on a voluntary basis, and I'll make sure that they know this. Number two, approval will be sought from parents before any interviews are conducted with children. An information leaflet will also be given explaining the purpose of the study. Number three, assurance will be given that names will be changed to keep them anonymous. Names of school establishments will not be mentioned anywhere in the study. Number four, I will not ask children leading questions. I will use open-ended questions to avoid bias and to avoid steering responses. Number five, participants will be allowed to withdraw from the process at any time. Data collected will be deleted if requested by participant or by the parent or the guardian of that child. Number six, data will be stored using a password protected file once it has been uploaded. This data will then be destroyed after 5 years. The limitations of this study. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, it may be difficult to gain access into a range of schools to interview children, especially if there are no prior connections to that school. Schools at the minute aren't wanting people into their buildings if it's not completely necessary. Even within playgrounds, parents are not allowed to speak to each other. They have to collect their children and then go. So I'm hoping that by the time I begin this study, that restrictions will have lifted and I will find it easier to gain access. Teachers' views on free and structured play within Key Stage 2 may be at odds with the time that they are allocated for play by the head teacher, the Board of Governors, or even parental constraints. Therefore, they may be reluctant to complete the survey. Some teachers may find that play is really beneficial, but maybe because they're in maybe a primary 6 classroom and they're heavily then focused on the GL or the AQE examinations, it may leave time very short and very limited. And again, I will need to take these things all into consideration when drawing up questionnaires and when conducting this research proposal. Through the research proposal, I would like to find out how much time is set aside for children to play each week, whether teachers have received additional training around implementing play-based practices, and then again, and also the benefits of doing so on the holistic development of the child. I am aware that we now are focusing more on a child as the whole person rather than just on what can be measured through an academic test.